the earlier panels were about vision, quite literally this last one was about vision and some, then this one is about implementation. So earlier this year, IMEMS did a report, and that gave us probably the clearest picture yet of how AI is surfacing in the European scene. But mapping the space is one thing, and embedding AI into the real world is absolutely another thing. So what does it take to move from pilots to scalable solutions? What does it take to build the right infrastructure that lets data flow? Well, we're super lucky for this last session to have the very experts that led the IMES report. Amazing. And they're now looking at what comes next. So moderated by the wonderful Jan Pauli, community lead at MusicTech Belgium. Please put your hands together for this incredible final panel. Thank you.
Thank you, 𝘠𝘩. Actually, we're waiting for our final panelists. So Matt, if you can hear us, please come down because your panel has started. I mean, maybe it would be interesting to have you here. Hi, everyone. The good news is you've made it through the day and through the heat. This is the last panel of today. The even better news is it's going to be a very interesting panel, as 𝘠𝘩 already pointed out. We talked a lot about AI today, of course. We talked about tech in live, but we haven't talked about AI solutions for the live music industry, and that's about to change with already 2 of the 3 panelists here. So I think it might be a good idea to start with you just introducing yourselves, maybe.
Thanks, Jan. Well, my name is Daniel Fletcher. I've been Chief Innovation Officer at Primavera Sound, one of the last large-scale independent festival promoters in Europe. I have a background in economics and have been working in innovation my entire career in different industries, but my connection with music comes from a very early age.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
I was just making time.
The star of the panel has arrived.
I was just about to start talking about my infancy.
Sorry, so that's 5:30 and not 5:15. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was saying Daniel, that my connection with music comes. I've been a musician, a producer, a weekend producer, a summer touring musician, and a writer.
Cool. Thank you, Daniel. Happy to have you. Mathilde?
Hi, I am Mathilde Deneux. I'm the co-founder of MusicTech France, which is the collective for innovators based in France. We are also co-founders of MusicTech Europe, so we have a European vision, and we're also involved with MusicTech Belgium. And I also founded my own agency, Resonance, which is communications and business advice for music tech startups.
Cool. Matthias, you've made it.
In time, almost. Yeah, I'm running MusicTech Germany, which is the Federal Association for Music Technology in Germany. We are basically the hub, the network for companies, research institutions, and academia. And the idea is to help the music industry to get faster tracks to innovation and innovate from within, rather than relying on big corporate companies. We are also co-founder of MusicTech Europe. I run a music conference called Music Frontiers on the 4th and 5th of September in Berlin, which I would like to invite you all to come and see what we're doing there. And I'm a lecturer at NYU teaching music tech innovation. I do consultancy for some startups in the music tech space, and I work with an association that helps disabled artists to get more stage presence.
Cool. So much experience on one panel. That's really great. As 𝘠𝘩 already pointed out, we have 3 of the key people involved in the EMEMS mapping that we're going to talk about here on the panel. Maybe Mathilde and Matt, maybe you can start by introducing people to the EMEMS project. What is it about? What did you do the past year? You launched a report, I think, how many weeks ago? Not that many weeks ago. So could you just quickly introduce us to the project itself?
Sure. So 𝑒MEMS, 𝑖MEMS, IMEMS, you can pronounce that however you want. We didn't make a decision on that. But it stands for Innovation Mapping of the European Music Sector. This is a project that was supported by 𝘠𝘁 and the European Commission, and we worked on this for a year. It was led by MusicTech France, and MusicTech Germany was collaborating on this project, so that's why we're both here. And the goal with that project, when we started off, was really mapping out the AI ecosystem in the live sector across Europe. We quickly realized that it wasn't that big, and we were kind of surprised, so we decided to do a full report. We still did the mapping, so if you download the report or even go online, you will have access to that. But we gave it a lot more context about innovation in the live sector with feedback from the actual industry, so that's why also Daniel is involved in this report.
Of course. As you said, you mapped, I think, 22 AI solutions or tools for live music. How should we interpret that number? Is that a lot? You said that you were surprised at the maybe small amount, but what does that say about adoption of AI solutions in the live music industry?
I mean, it's not a big number compared to like all the different tech tools that are out there. But we focused on Europe. That's the first point. That's why it's not like every AI tool in the world that's in there. And second point is, I mean, AI has been around for many, many, many years, but the adoption in the live music sector is also something that hasn't happened with the same speed that it happened in other sectors of the music industry. So I think it's not a big number, but it's good to see that something is happening. And I think if we would do the report now, we would probably have another 10 companies, because there's like, slowly but surely it gets more and more accessible. We have now this whole hype of AI agents, which are also applied to the live music sector. So I think if we would do that reporting constantly, if we could manage to do that and we would get the budget for it, then we would see a growth in AI tools, certainly.
Yeah. Is it something you want to repeat like yearly or something, or like is it a budget issue maybe?
I mean, very practically speaking, 𝘠𝘁 was funding for a year, so we went until the end of that year. But yes, ideally we would find a way to update that very frequently. For now, everything is online and available, but of course we are eager to work on that. And also, 𝘠𝘁 is also regarding the music sector. Yeah. That means that we're not only regarding live or AI. We just started there, but the idea is to go way wider and go on other topics. And for now, the Barcelona MusicTech Hub is working on another side of things and working on discoverability tools.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just wanted to drop like one thing. The website is IMEMS, basically, or IMEMS.eu. You can still add your tool to our kind of like thing. So if you know anyone that builds AI tools for the live music sector, or you're building one yourself, or you have built one, go to IMEMS.eu, click the button and add your tool, so that we can at least on a voluntary basis keep tracking that kind of like environment.
I see Marine, you should, he's talking to you.
No, you can just like add another one, we update it.
Yeah.
Send an email.
Yeah, we do it, but 2AM is obviously in the mapping.
Okay, cool. So as you said, you mapped innovation in general, you mapped AI tools for live. These tools that were divided then in 5 categories, so I have to look at my cheat sheet here. It was artistic programming and booking, scenic production and experience, audience management and discoverability, ticketing and administration. And maybe it's a question for all of you, but where would you say that the potential for AI solutions is the highest? In which of these 5 domains do you see the biggest potential? Maybe Daniel, you could like get into that.
If you look from the perspective of the live music promoter, I guess that the most evident use cases have to do with anything that has to do with operations, with streamlining operations. And let me take a break just a minute here around discussing this. One harsh reality in the live industry is that when in many other industries we've seen in the past 15 or 20 years the entire industry going through this process of what we call the digital transformation, in which all the operations, all the business models, all the relationship with data was revised, and in some cases, many industries were disrupted by these new uses of technology and these new business models. In the live music industry, we are lagging behind.
Okay. Why is that, do you think?
There may be a number of reasons. Probably because this nature of one-off events that every music festival and every show represents, it's like creates a barrier for many promoters to test things, to test new things that could go wrong.
Because it's very temporary, you mean?
Right. Also, maybe we still need to create the right environment in the live music sector to attract top talent in tech, in marketing, and even in finance. And also, live music, especially if we look at the independent side, has always had issues to attract capital or to have a good relationship with capital to invest in growth or in implementing things that can have a return afterwards. So there may be lots number of things. Also, when sales are good, why change things? When sales are bad, what can we do now?
Okay, but we are as a live sector, we are at risk, I think, nowadays. I mean, it's not going very well across the live music industry.
Yeah, for example, this season in Europe is going not very well for many music festivals in terms of sales. There are a number of reasons for that. It was a very hard year to book this year. Very few headliners doing festivals. So it was a hard year. Sales are not good this year for most or for many festivals. And this is the moment where everyone should be thinking, okay, how can we engage better with our fans? Yeah. How can we get to know our fans better? How can make the festival brand the headliner and not the headliners?
Yeah.
These are questions that we should be making now in the industry, and of course, technology and even AI can help us get better at that.
Yeah, but what you're actually saying is we only start to think about it when things are going bad. But if you think about AI tools specifically, I mean, isn't it too late to start thinking about it when things are going bad? Because you need, of course, tons of data to make the AI tools work. There's a huge problem, I think we spoke before this panel, we spoke about the huge data problem within the live music sector, right? I mean, there's not a huge amount of data that's available, I think.
I mean, there is data, it's just not structured.
It's available, but
one thing that we realized very quickly when we did the mapping, we decided to mirror it with a mapping of innovation as a whole, not only AI. And what we realized that we had some tools, we had some use. It wasn't really operating with each other, but we decided to give it context. And we realized that structuring work methods, some workflows, it wasn't done. So we mentioned like CRMs or these kind of solutions. It's not widely used in that live sector from what the interviews we conducted, because of course we asked the people who were concerned with that. But that was one of the things. AI is an algorithm in the end. So if you don't structure and clean that data, you can't really use it. So yeah, that's why there is maybe a step back to take and see what could be done and streamline the workflows.
Any tips for any live music professionals in the room? Like
how many are in here?
Yeah, Alex, of course.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Yeah, nice. Like, who of you uses CRM? All right, that's
100% actually.
Yeah. usually live festival, these kind of people don't even use CRM tools. So we have to start really, really at the beginning. And there was obviously, like you said, Daniel, like if there's no need to use all these tools because it's all going well, why take the effort to do it? So, and then when you realize it's not going good anymore, then it's too late to use these tools, or you have to do like a lot of work backtracking what happened the last 20 years before until it went down. So I think, yeah, I mean, the biggest tip is probably to, like in all music industry fields, it's more about like education and literacy for technology. So we need to like give them a hand and they can take it or not. But at least like particularly the live music sector, even though it's difficult to talk about the live music sector because the live music sector is pretty diverse. It's not like one sector and one kind of thing and one issue. So it's like small, big, larger, and then different sectors, subsectors within the sector. Everybody has their own problems. So it's probably not one sector we can talk about. But at the end of the day, I think every person in the traditional music industry and everyone that has worked in there for the last 20 years, not the ones that got new in there, I would say the last 5 years, they're probably more knowledgeable than the people who've been there since 20 years because they've been sitting there in their comfort zone and not thinking about like what could go wrong. But I think it's giving them a hand and telling them like, look, if you want to learn about like how technology works or what would be available for your certain aspect in the value chain in the live music sector, then they can choose to take that hand or not, and then we take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also on the tech side, so on our side to make an effort as well, because the live sector is very specific. It has weird timelines. It's a rush for like 6 to 8 months, and then it's calmer. But you don't always have the same team size, or there are a lot of stuff to consider. And these tools, so innovative tools, not only AI, but when you become to platforms or any kind of tool really. The goal is to make it available and make it easy to use. Like changing an internal tool is always a challenge, but especially when you have like a huge deadline, like a festival, for example.
Sure.
But there are a lot of considerations that they have to take, and so yeah, that's. On the tech side, at least, it's more through workshops and meetups that we've seen some progress here.
Is it like understanding the workflow? Is it from the tech side, understanding the workflow of live music professionals?
Yeah, it's understanding that and just trying to match that. Because as in any other sector, when you're building a new solution, you ask your end users how they would like to use it. So we kind of have to do this thing. That's what we did with the report. We realized that there were innovative solutions, but not that much adoption. So we went to the live sector and said, by the way, what are your needs exactly?
And let me add on top of that, I think that the opportunity here, when an industry skips one transformation cycle, a new technology comes and is available, there's a big opportunity there because you don't have that much technical depth as others that initiated the transformation before. So I think that AI now can facilitate a lot, many tasks and many operations and many things in live music. And we can skip one step and go directly to these tools, AI tools that can orchestrate different processes, different aspects of operations, and even orchestrate the different data silos that are available.
Yeah. Talking about the mapping of the needs or the needs you discovered in interviewing industry stakeholders, I mean, I can imagine that these needs and these challenges vary widely across like different domains, like big festivals, smaller venues, and so on. Did you also find some like general needs that are shared within the entire live music industry? And if so, do you think that the current tools that are available that you mapped as well, do they match these needs? Or is there like a huge gap?
I wouldn't say that there's a huge gap, but we were lucky enough to have some support from the French trade body for the live sector, 𝘠𝘀 in France, and we did a workshop during their general assembly. So we had a bunch of people with different sizes of organization, and one thing that we started with was, are you using any innovative tools? Are you using AI? Everybody said no, and then we realized that they were, but they didn't identify it like that.
Okay.
But one key element that is common for everybody is, well, the adoption is, they were not closed off to the idea, just need time and making sure that it was relevant for them. But also try to have these solutions communicate with each other. So they were using several platforms, but these platforms were not interoperable.
Yes.
So that was one of the key challenges that we noticed, and this one was common to everybody.
Okay. You gave a lengthy interview that's included in the report, well worth a read. How do you look at this, like the gap between the actual needs and the tools that are available?
Well, probably this comes because there is historically some sort of disconnect between the live industry and the music tech ecosystem. Why is that? Well, we discussed about that at the beginning, probably. Sure. But my hopes are in that I'm lately seeing some very interesting startups focusing on real challenges that will provide or are providing really quick wins to live music promoters. For example, things, and here there are some representatives, how to manage customer relationships and support, and that's a big challenge. And there are already smart people working on that and providing solutions. Also, I see some startups working with limited sales data available to make predictions, and they're building algorithms to make up for the data that they don't have, and also showing promising results. So I see some startups focusing on real challenges that can provide quick wins, and I think this is the way to go now.
And that are solving real existing issues and problems as well, because that's always a pain point, I think.
Right.
Okay. You brought it up, like interoperability. It's a hard word. Yes, and also data silos. That was identified in the report, I think, as a core pain point across the sector, across the industry. When thinking about building like common data infrastructures, what do you think the most important steps to build like shared standards within Europe, maybe? Because also there's a...
Well, it's easy to say, and I think it's a music industry-wide issue, but especially like in this case in live, it's very fresh. This focus on data. So of course that's one of the key elements of that report, is to build some at least share methods and try to cooperate a little bit, but on a European level. It makes no sense to, according to us at least, to do that ourselves in our every little countries in Europe.
Who should, sorry to interrupt, but who should lead that effort on the European level? Who should be in charge of that?
It can be an independent person or an independent association or a mix of different representatives of different associations. That would be probably the best way to do it. Take different live music heads of these associations together with like tech association people, and then form a kind of like a task force, a conglomerate, a task force that leads this thing. But you know, like I'm not a big fan of these policy things because they take ages, and until they take action in Brussels, it's already done, and we need to do something else. So it has to come from within the industry and not relying on the. That's my personal opinion, on the European Commission bodies, because everything takes too long and they are too much influential by certain lobby associations. And I think we can all agree that from an artist perspective, from like the usual people that are trying to make the live sector an interesting sector, for them this would be super relevant. But we also know that we have a kind of a concentration of power in the live music sector with like 2, 3, 4 large corporations that also sit on their data. They don't share their data. If you buy a ticket, you don't know nothing. So, and as long as that's not changed, and also, no, like the power, like outreach is now like they own venues, they do this and that, and that's why at the end of the day, like it's really hard to break through for someone that wants to start something new. So, but for these people, we need to do it, even though that's going to be the long tail thing. But, and they also need to do things. If we do it like on a European level, then we have like all the lobbies from like Live Nation telling them not to do things.
Well, in the same way that tech can really build anything without the field being involved, is the same for policy. I mean, it has to involve people who are actually working in that live sector in that case.
Yeah, and I think it's also important, especially because you're totally right. The interconnection between the music tech sector and the live sector has been non-existent until now, I would say. There's like not a lot of exchange happening in that space, and there's several reasons for that. But I think what would change things if we would have people that would lead by example. So if we take someone, like I have a friend in the US, he did a tour with an artist, and like he used heavily different AI tools to plan that tour, and he made a 7-figure like revenue or profit even on it. And having these kind of people talking to people from the live music and telling, look, I did it. I can show you how it worked, and it's not some tech startup that has like a fancy idea. And I totally agree. Like that's another thing. Obviously, there's so many people out there with ideas for like doing beautiful new live music experiences in whatever environments, but this is not a problem of the live music sector right now, and focusing, and it doesn't have to be, or it should not be tech-driven. Like you should not think about like, what can I do with this technology?
No, of course.
You should rather look like, okay, what is like the actual issue, and how can I use different kind of like tech stacks to solve that issue? And I think that's something, and I totally understand that if I'm a live music person and I run like a big festival, and constantly startups pitching me about like, hey, you need to do this in the metaverse, and you need to like, actually do this with AI, and you need to do this with blockchain, and like, what the fuck? I have no idea.
So I know you're allergic to that.
Yeah, so I actually need, they have to filter out what's bullshit and what's not, and they don't have any idea what actually makes sense or not. So it's hard for them to really know what's going on and what not. And I don't know how to solve this yet, but at the end of the day, and this is where the thing is.
Yeah. And probably one of the first things that needs to be solved is like, as you said, like sharing data, be able, willing to share data, to build like a shared metadata infrastructure or something. You need to share data, but that's like the hardest nut to crack as well, right? Yeah, nobody wants to share data within the industry.
This industry is comprised of large and small data silos that nobody shares, and it's very interesting. I won't say that nobody shares. No, that's not true. Some data is available out there. But there's also historically some sort of disconnect between the recording industry and the live industry. And this is funny to think about that, because you have all the record labels trying to figure out who the audience of their artist is, to develop audiences. Some have developed very sophisticated means and ways to do that, and to understand to discern who is a follower, who's a lean back listener, who is an active listener, who is a fan, who is a merch buyer or ticket buyer. That everyone is trying to crack that code one way or another. So people in the recorded industry is trying to crack that code, and people in the live industry is also trying to crack that code. So why don't we work together to do that and help develop artists together?
I love how you make it sound so easy.
Yeah, that's not easy, but think about one thing. Okay, now you have quite a reasonable amount of data about recorded music available on platforms such as Soundcharts, Chartmetrics. But in live music, we started reading that data the wrong way.
Okay.
We were looking at audiences on Instagram, listens on Spotify, by city, by genre. But we were not understanding what was really the value or the audience of an artist. Yeah. And once you put a show from an artist, you discover what that audience really is. And even at music festivals, we we could do better to understand who is there for which artist.
Sure.
So I think that there's a promising and bright future out there in collaboration between.
Okay. Yeah, and even for example, like in ticketing data, like there's one person buying 4 tickets for their friends, but you only have the data for that one buyer, right? So that's also something that's
right. Yeah, when we at Primavera Sound we try to untangle that mystery by developing a system for access management. So every ticket buyer had to identify and convert the ticket they bought into a virtual ticket to access the festival.
Yeah.
So in the end, we knew exactly who was accessing the festival at every moment. And that gave us leeway to explore new things in terms of engagement and
of course.
Working, for example, rolling over that channel for the sales of the next festivals, and that worked really well.
But
so
that's
that can be done.
That's also because you work with a really progressive company that like provides you all the services for the ticketing and the marketing campaigns and the stuff that who you work with?
We develop all of that ourselves.
All right, you have your own system running.
We had a in-house software development team, and we were testing things all the time.
But all right. Because I had another conversation on another conference with like other people from tech companies, and there was like the question. There was this company that just bought another big company, and they said they share their data with all their clients. So it's like you have this like these closed companies that don't share anything with their clients, but they share everything that's GDPR compliant with their clients. But obviously they have different clients, so they feed their system with like all the different data, even though it's anonymized. They learn constantly how different festivals of different sizes with different audience work. And they told me they change their marketing campaigns daily for every event because they learn every day new things, and they change entire like everything, copy, visuals, everything, just by constantly reiterating like where could we learn, reach, do. And I think that's like, this is where the actual, because this is unique, like not a lot of festivals build their own software and build their own system like that. Nobody does that because it's also reinventing the wheel, to be honest. So a lot of people relying on services. And if these services start sharing with each other, then we can actually make a step forward.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Taking a quick look at the time, we have 10 minutes left. I think maybe some questions from the audience. One thing that struck me in the report is that is the need for alignment of AI tools with the core values of the live music industry, like fairness, sustainability, ethical responsibility. If we look ahead 3 to 5 years and we succeed in this alignment with these core values, what does innovation in live music look like to you, to the three of you? Like the ideal path to innovation, and where are we in 3 to 5 years?
So I think that the beauty of AI tools is that it actually does all that. It is a tool that can make things way more inclusive. For example, people with certain disabilities who have a hard time experiencing live events, through AI tools or through AI technology, you can now build tools that make their life easier at live events and make them having a more participative experience. Yeah. So I think this is not a technology that blocks out anyone, it's rather an enabler in that sense. When it comes to sustainability, same thing. All the big amount of data that you can now digest with AI, you can actually learn a lot, like how to streamline processes, how to make things more sustainable, how to be greener, and so on and so on. So
or like waste management and
technology actually can help to make things more sustainable. So I think, especially in the live music sector, where we don't have to talk about rights being, like all the things that we talk about Gen AI. It's a sector where AI, in my opinion, has only positive implications.
Okay.
So I can't think of anything bad that's going to happen in the live music sector, especially when we talk about 𝘠𝘦 and people listening on Spotify to an invisible artist, it's not going to happen on a live because nobody's going to be on stage. So it's really a secure part of the music industry that can only benefit from that technology. That's my...
What's on your T-shirt? It's robots can't kill creativity or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Mathilde?
I agree with Matt on that. We have a lot of experimentations to do. Ideally, that's something that would be led with the live sector and have more example like your festival at 𝘠𝗫𝘴 doing a lot of stuff. But that's also something that came up in the other interviews that we had, especially one from 𝘔𝘁𝘃𝗄 from 𝘠𝘪𝘁 and Pascal Viaud from issue. So 𝘠𝘪𝘁 is measuring the social and ecological impact of festivals. Issue is more related to security on site and crowd management. And they were both saying, that's great, we have the technology, but we have no need for technology itself. We have to use it. And that's one of my favorite quotes Maxime said. It's like you have a great knife, but if all you're eating is soup, it doesn't really make sense. So you just use that expression, and that's very visual, of course, but that works well. So hopefully, and I'm fairly optimistic about that, experimentations will come from the live sector with the help of tech and not the other way around.
Yeah, and keep talking to each other, of course, yeah.
Always.
Daniel, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything.
But? No?
No.
Okay.
No, and since I left 𝘠𝘠𝘃𝘄 in December 2024, I've been thinking around different, how AI could make live music better. One of the things that I realized is that, well, not realized, we all know, but again, is this connection between the recorded music industry and live. You have now all these recommendation engines in the DSPs that tend to promote most of the times things that are more similar to what someone is listening or what everyone else is listening.
Yes.
So I would love to see some bias introduced in these recommendation engines to foster more diverse, not so obvious acts and artists.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Questions? I do think we have time for maybe one or two. Yeah, we do? Great. Any questions from the audience? No? Are you all tired and hot?
It's been a long day. We're the last ones, and then it's over, right?
Yeah.
So.
Maureen, do you want to take advantage of this amazing panel, given that you've actually been mentioned?
Are you pitching
Any
again?
questions?
Pitching again.
Can we have the mic, Bruce, please? Thank you.
So thank you to all of you. It was like super interesting, and I must say, like I learned a lot also from the study IMANS. And then I would like to. I mean, it's just a remark because sometimes, so there is like people like building tech in their corner and the live sector in the other corner, and what is like super hard also with the live music sector is that they have no time because, as you mentioned, there is a date and they have to run after that date all the time, so it's super hard to find them time. So would you have like any recommendation, or like could we start to do workshop, you know, with for instance ecoscene or the kind of festivals, you know, and just like having some times to speak to all together and say, okay, that is the solution we offer, what do you like, how could we do it together better, you know, what's kind of events?
Yeah, good suggestion. You want to?
I mean, yes, we'll offer it. Of course, we did that with ecoscene, and they're also eager to follow through, so we might have another session with them. We just need to find the time and place, obviously, and the people who are eager to join, but I think we can find that. And that's zooming out a little bit. we're involved in MusicTech Europe,
Yes.
and one of the core values that we have is collaboration, creating spaces for dialogues between music and innovation. That means that AI and live fit in that role, obviously. So yes, and if there's any will to do that with us, please, happy to do it.
Matt?
I totally agree obviously on that. There's been, I think they still do it. In Germany there was a kind of like an organization called 𝘠𝘢𝘀𝘴. They tried to become like another network for the live music sector, and but what they did is like every year they organized something called the Festival Playground, and what they did is like they rented an entire center parks with like all the different houses, and they invited all festivals to come there for 4 days and rent houses. So there was like big Wacken festival next to a small 500 capacity festival to learn from each other, because all of them have different issues, but and they all like spent days together. They did workshops every day. They brought in some small, like not really a lot, tech solutions for their problems, but it was rather the exchange amongst or between all these festivals to learn about their issues and maybe learn about from a big festival how they solved it and so on and so on. So I think there is an interest, there's also an infrastructure to these kind of workshops. It's just that, as we discussed all the time, that the tech sector so far hasn't tapped into that, but I'm pretty sure if it makes sense for them, they would also run workshops on these kind of things, and especially with the times that we are in, I'm pretty sure that that makes sense these days, so it might be good to pitch it to them.
Yeah. The Center Parks thing sounded like a songwriting camp for festivals.
Yeah, and it's really like it's if you look at the pictures and the videos that they shoot, it's like a fucking holiday camp with like all cool live music people. So it's I've never been there, but it looked always awesome.
Cool.
They cut you off, right? Bad. That's usually in November every year. I think if the website's still online, it's called Festival Playground. Just have a look. I heard that they not doing it anymore, but I'm not sure, like there's rumors going out, but I'll ask.
Cool.
Yep.
Anyone else? Last question?
Good. Anyone got one more question? Yes, here we go. Do you want to take mine?
Thank you. Great panel, guys. Learned a lot about how the tech is changing on this side of the world. I come from India. This is 𝘠𝘠𝘠 here. I have a question especially for what Daniel was touching about, the decline in terms of the music festivals and how that's really impacting, specifically in Europe or the West. Whereas on the other side of the world, we have all of these franchises which are getting launched now, like Lollapalooza is doing its round, it's doing it in a big way. Rolling Loud just launched in Thailand and now coming up in Mumbai literally in the first edition, 3 months down the line. What do you see is this shift happening, right? Like I'm being very optimistic about Asia really opening up in a big way, but where is this lack happening in Europe and probably to Matthias's point, right? Because tech has not really tapped so much into that side of the festival. Can it really uptake the festival side of the things here if, tech really starts getting involved in the music festival side? Sorry for the long question, but you get the point.
Thanks for bringing that perspective. Daniel, you want to reply?
Yeah, it's very interesting what you mentioned. Live Nation was doing Rolling Loud in Europe as well, and this year it's not happening. They even had three different locations at some point in Europe, and they are not doing that anymore. Why music festivals in Europe? I won't say they are declining, because if you see the overall sales, they keep growing at a steady pace. The number of tickets and revenue from music festivals in Europe, they keep growing every year, but it's true that many festivals are not doing well this season, this summer season. And I would say that, and this is sad to say, but there must be some type of readjustment in the sector in Europe after this season. And if you look at the lineups of most, I won't say most, but many of the festivals in Europe this year, they are not so appealing as in previous years. Of course, there are exceptions, but this has been a very difficult year to book artists. there's a huge supply of festivals in Europe, huge. And for example, I can tell you, I made some research, and there were 3 million tickets on sale for music festivals in Spain this summer season. There's no market to absorb that, I can tell you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for that question. Amazing question. Yeah. Thanks so much, Jan
Thank you.
and his guests. Big round of applause, please. Wonderful.